It is 10:39 on a Tuesday night, and there's been maybe a major recruiting violation with Lincoln Riley. You got to love it, everybody. It's week 13. It is a fantasy. I can't even think of fantasy right now because of all this Lincoln Riley crap. But we're with Dylan, Caleb. We got a lot to break down. Our league, a lot of things are happening. It's been many weeks since we've done a video, but let's break this down because the playoffs are a few weeks away, and the maybe the 4, 5, 6 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed. There's a lot of jumbling mess that we got to get through. So Lincoln Riley is a snake. That is correct. And that guy and Coach Roy Manning, don't get me started. But I'm already started. God, I just hate these people. Snakes, I have to say real quick, in Mason's league, what he said earlier about Lincoln Riley and all the things, 100% using F-bomb almost every other word because that is true. That is how it needs to be said. Lincoln is an effing snake. And thank you. Yes. Want to put a warning out there for kids around or people that are sensitive to USC Trojans. This video may hate on Lincoln Riley. Okay. Let's break this down. So let's get to actually talk about the league. Dylan, start us. Can you bring up the fantasy cast? We may be addicted to Twitter. Yeah, I have not left Twitter.
Yeah. So, what would you like to see? I've got a lot of things to show. So,
I think we've already seen kind of the past. Let's just go through matchups this week first, kind of switch it up, and then let's talk playoff predictions because we need to talk about the playoff structure. I don't think we need to talk about scores last week. Everyone knows what happened.
We can go over some throughout the year stuff in a moment.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just start breaking this down. So, Caleb, how about you break this down? This is Dylan and Isaac's matchup. Kind of what are you seeing here? What are your thoughts? What do you got?
Dylan hasn't lost in 10 weeks. I don't know the matchups. Isaac's been on a hot streak, though. Man, if Isaac makes the playoffs, I think I'm cheering for it. We all are. But if he makes the playoffs, that means I'm probably out. But start off, however, this is a good game. But I got to go Dylan. He's won 10 in a row, and how can he it's big against the streak is just dumb. It's got to eventually bounce this week.
Yeah, Isaac's had some big tolls taken on him. He's had 4 IR players from his week 1 thing. As you see, Christian McCaffrey's not even on his roster anymore. Was he actually? Wasn't he?
A long time ago, yeah, he was.
Yeah. But I like my team. A lot of shakeups back and forth. I like my depth, but Isaac's team had that hot start that we all thought was going to go great, and it just kind of did not go his way. And honestly, it's just hard to really see where his team's headed next. But Matt, I'm not going to talk much about my matchup. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think Dylan, this favors you heavily. I've got you again. You continue to win. I don't think this will be close. So, Dylan.
All right, and I'll start off this next matchup for us real quick. It is for Matt Marks versus Mason Walden himself. Yeah, I think Mason's teams had a lot of boom or bust potential throughout this year, which is kind of crazy to hear. As you can see, Mason's teams.
I think that's not Mason.
Something's wrong with it, I guess. It does.
Everybody's got Russell Wilson and Matt Stafford.
Yeah, but as you can see, it's Dak Prescott. Elijah Mitchell has really been coming up late, and he really stepped in that role last week, especially with even with Debo playing pretty well. Ayuk's playing again, but Elijah Mitchell had a ground and pound game. Melvin Gordon got started pretty late. CD's been down lately. You have Pittman. Mason's a really big boomer bust team. Matt, you have now dropped 3 weeks in a row. As you look at this whole team, it's just kind of weird to see where your team started out early and where it's going now. And honestly, I'd like to see your team pick it up, Matt, but I do not know if they're going to be able to. So I might just be saying that I think I'm going to pick Mason this week. Go ahead, Trevor. Go ahead, Caleb.
Matt beat all 9 of us in a row, and he's not going to win a game since. He's going to get the first round bye because Matt's team is now as bad as we all thought it was going to be. But he won the first 9 in a row, which is an historic feat in Michael Scott Paper Company. The history. No discredit to that, but now I'm confident to say Matt's team is as bad as we thought it was. Thanks to Derrick Henry being injured, sure.
But, all right, Caleb, go and kick us off this next matchup between Trevor and Bryce. We'll go into some more details on these teams in a moment. We're just going to talk through these matchups first.
Trevor and Bryce, all I'm going to say is Trevor has locked in a playoff spot. Congratulations, Trevor. 4 wins combined the first 2 years, and now clinching your playoff spot with still 2 weeks remaining in the season. Congratulations. It doesn't even matter, but Trevor's team's so hot right now, nobody can touch him. Congratulations, Trevor, on knocking the first time Michael Scott Company champion out of the playoffs.
How you feel, Matt?
The first time he won the championship was with Christian McCaffrey, and without him, he's been suspect. Sure, injuries, but everybody has injuries.
This is the one team you don't want to face in the playoffs. Trevor's team is extremely hot right now, and Trevor has the pieces. Jonathan Taylor, Tyreek Hill, he's got pieces that are going to be lethal, and you don't want to face them.
Yeah, and I think as everyone underestimated Trevor, I still think I'm going to pick him this week. He should have some benefits while I work through this. I'm just buffering this screen again real quick. Bryce's team, I think we had a lot more expectations for as we began the season. We thought it'd be a solid team. He's kind of had some injuries himself with coming up with, as you can see, he's had some injuries himself because Jalen's not really been the top 5. He's still been decent, but David Montgomery hit out for a bit. Adam Thielen's and Justin Jefferson, honestly, haven't been amazing this year. It's kind of a Jamar Chase field where T. Higgins is playing.
Adam Thielen's been great.
He's been great, but he's not been
NFL in touchdowns or something like that.
Adam Thielen's been doing great. It's just that it just feels weird this year for Thielen. Like it feels like it's a undervalued year. And then Trevor has the best free agent find in modern history. Cordell Patterson. He has Jonathan Taylor. He has Leonard Fournette, who has finally found his groove coming like he had in Jacksonville back with. I think Tom Brady has brought out the best in him. That's what he does. I hate to say it. And then you look around at this team, and Gronk's back. He might not be healthy, but Gronk doesn't care if he's healthy. He'll play through a brain aneurysm, I'm pretty sure. So we go into this next matchup. We have Caleb versus Connor McClain.
This is old.
And what I have heard, I don't know if anyone listens here really necessarily to ESPN, but there's a Survivor League going on for ESPN, all the analysts like Matthew Berry, and then Patrick Mahomes has been on the losing team, the team to go out every single week. And if you look, he's on Caleb Boyston's team this week. But the one thing in his favor is that he's playing Connor McClain, who is fielding almost a full roster currently, but he's projected 90 points. And I don't really know to see that. But on both sides of these teams, like just low output. Dalvin Cook's out now. Jamal Williams is in. DeAndre Swift is probably not going to come back in a hurry. The Lions are awful. There's not really a QB on that side. Aaron Jones is on a bye.
We get it. We're both terrible. Leave us alone.
This is just a horrible matchup this week, but I'll go into some more stats in a minute, but it's really doesn't really matter this matchup as much, except for Caleb's sake and hope at the playoffs. Matt, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, for Caleb, you got to win this one. Connor, unfortunately, just has been a not a good season, and it's a tough week too, having Jones and Chubb out. Yeah, Caleb needs to win. Caleb, you got to win this one. You can't lose this one.
And the last match for the week, Caleb, kick us off on this. How do you feel about Drew versus Connor Boydston?
Hey, Team CBD all day. Hey, make CBD legal for everybody. #Galdi. Hey, but shout out Drew. Like I said, I want to see him make the playoffs. I do. To start off however long, like a 2% chance all year. To keep going off. Finally, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and I got Hunter Renfrow. Cool. His roster is the lowest upside. Joe Mixon's been insane, but Cookie Town Baby Dynasty roster is coming alive finally. It's been too talented all year to miss the playoffs, and it's coming alive now. And the end is, and yeah, he's gonna win.
Drew has put up some good points throughout the year. He had a rough start, a very, very rough start. We can all agree on that. But he's 4-8. He's sitting at 4-8. He's looking like an NFC least team that can make the playoffs, even though it seems like they have no hope. He's going to need to win out these last 2 weeks and get some help. It is possible, though. Drew can make it. The only person that officially eliminated is Connor McClain with his 3 wins. Drew can make it, though, and that you never know what can happen out of that. But I'd like to see Drew make it and work it right here. But if he wins this one, it's 5-8, and it's one more step because it puts Connor Boydston at 5-8. Matt, how do you feel about this team?
Yeah, it's been good to see Drew kind of rebound a little bit from where he started from. CBD had that, I think, 6-game slide early in the season, which was really a big blow. And we remember that matchup with him and Trevor. during that rivalry week, and that kind of helped propel Trevor. And Drew needs to win this one for sure, and same with CBD. I mean, this is going to be fun to watch. I mean, if Drew wins this, they're both going to be 5-8, right? Is that what I'm seeing? So, yeah, Drew really can get right in the thick of a lot of teams that are underperforming. I mean, we saw early on this season, they were only, I think it was you, Dylan, me, and Mason who were way above 500. Everyone else was 500 or way below. So there was a huge discrepancy in the league. And there's so many people that are really right below 500 that are fighting for those spots. This is a crucial matchup. We'll see how it plays out. But I think Drew could pull this off. The Diggs, Allen, Joe Mixon, he's got guys that are hot right now. I think it could benefit him.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that's really the last matchup we have coming up this week. Honestly, I think we're just ready for playoff push at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just throw this graphic up real quick, actually, now that I think about it. This was the Week 5 power rankings while it's up here. As everyone can see, you've got Matt across the top. I'm thrown in there around 3rd and 4th and 5th. Drew is still at the bottom, but Trevor, look at Trevor. This 8th and 9th spot right around here. This is shooken up a good bit. We have Connor up here at the top. Both Connors are up here at the top. And this Connor here, who me and Matt both have at 4th, and Caleb has it 6th, the only one out of the playoffs right now. Connor Boydston then has had some okay pushes, but not really great in there. Everyone else was mushed up, like we kind of thought. And it's been a different change. But why don't you guys just toss out like where do you think all these teams stand in going forward, I guess? It's kind of a regular season push. We don't have to go really into the playoffs, but what are your really final seedings for this playoff going into? How do you think it turns out?
Whatever two teams are on Matt's side of the bracket have the best chance to make the championship. Matt, your team's decimated. You start off 9-0. It's awesome. But whatever two teams are on that bracket, the winner of those two will be in the championship game just because of how decimated Matt's team is.
And here's our current standings.
Yeah, let's pull up those standings and see. I mean, that's a good point. Yeah, my team is decimated. I've said in the group me, and Lamar is available. If there's a running back I can try to get, I will hand over Lamar to a team that's desperate for a running back quarterback. I mean, a guy that had a bad week last week, but can put up big numbers, and he's got his legs. Dylan, you're the 1 seed now. I dropped to the 2 seed. Can we pull up the projected playoff bracket? Can we?
Yes, we can.
Let's look at that right now.
As it loads, it's going to load up here.
Yeah, let's look at it. And this is a good time to remind everybody. Before we came into the season, we mentioned it in our preseason video. I think we mentioned it in one of our first week's regular season week videos. All eyes are going to turn to the 6th seed. And remember, the first 2 seeds get a bye. 3, 4, and 5 are based on record. The 6th seed is based on point score, not record. Okay? This was something that we voted on back a year ago. Dylan sent out that poll to everybody to their email. We all voted on it, and that was what was the consensus. Or at least I don't know what the final vote total was, but that was the winning vote. If we have a huge backlash, we can change it. But this is what's
it's kind of up to you guys to make sure if you're watching this video and you have backlash out, speak out now, because if you speak out, maybe that'll make the rest of the league want to go back, because we're completely open to going back to it. It's just that's what we voted on, and we've said it I think 4 different times throughout the videos this year that 3, 4, 5 are locked, and that 6th seed, which that's why I said Connor McClain's really the only one out of it, because he really had
Isaac is the one that you cannot be the 6th seed because you will not make the playoffs.
Yep.
Based on point score. You are so far back. I think maybe you've caught up some. I don't know. I can't see the numbers very well on the screen. But at one point you had the worst. You do have the worst points for offense, and that's going to be critical. You have to be a 5 seed or above. And so that's why, Isaac, you've got to win these 2 games. You're facing Dylan, right?
Yep, this week.
Oh boy. And then you got, I don't know who he's got next week. I forgot. We'll have to look that one up again. But Isaac has to be a 5 seed. And so it's going to be critical. Even last week, coming into last week, Connor McClain was going to be a 6 seed at 3-7.
Yep.
But that has changed now because he did not have a good offensive week last week, and some teams have jumped him. Right now, it looks like CBD Is he in the playoff picture
I'm going to
automatically?
look at the playoff bracket. Playoff bracket, CBD
He
is
is
the
the
6th seed
sixth.
already.
Okay, so it would work out that he would be the 6th seed because of points. But look how close I think Bryce is maybe 30 points off. I don't know. I really can't see these
Yeah,
numbers.
Bryce is 30 points off.
Drew is right there too. We could have a team jump someone else who has a worse record. It's going to come down. Look how narrow those points are.
And that the big thing on that is that it's just like a wild card for most things. Wild cards come out of point standings. It's kind of a different atmosphere. So we want to give that 6th guy a chance. And that also makes you push that you can't just get by with luck the entire season at that last point. Maybe you do have the most points scored against you, but even though you had the most points scored against you, your team was much better than your record shows. And if your team is good in the playoffs, you can still win out pretty well, just depending on how your team's been. Because obviously, if you are 3-9 like Connor McClain and he makes it, it's going to be tough for him still because he's obviously 3-9 for a reason. He's still 3rd from the bottom there. Cal has to win also. He's pretty close. He's 2nd to bottom in most points scored. You look at Isaac, though. Isaac is another full 30 points behind Cal himself. There's 300 points nearly separating Trevor to Isaac, and then 200 points separating myself to Isaac. It's a big gap there. And even looking at points allowed, so you see where everyone's at. Points allowed right there. Cal's had the most points allowed on him, but he just hasn't put up the numbers. So his record is kind of lucky to be 5-7, honestly, because you look around at Isaac. Isaac's had the 4th most points allowed on him, but he has also not put up the numbers either. So it doesn't really matter. Like what we saw with Drew early on in this season. But I'll pull up this playoff bracket again real quick just to have it up.
Yeah, Caleb, what are your thoughts on this?
Show everybody, watch out, I'm coming.
Yeah, but as it stands today, which as you've heard plenty of times with this college football playoff stuff going on, the USC-OU rivalry that will develop in the future, the Notre Dame-LSU rivalry that will develop. As you see, this is not the final standings. There's still one chance for a final push for everyone. 2 weeks to go. I have overtaken Matt this week. That's just by a 10-win streak that is now the longest in the league, but Matt's team is still 9-3. He should still have it locked up. The only way he does not have it locked up is if Trevor can win the next 2 games and Matt can lose the next 2 games because Trevor has overtaken him in points scored. So there's still a lot of mayhem left to happen. Still a lot of injuries left to come. Still a lot of crazy football to be played. But we can see what happens going forward.
Yeah. There's some good football ahead. Starting tomorrow night, Cowboys Saints, Thursday night football. Not tomorrow night, whatever. Thursday night. Yeah, it's been a long week already.
Who's your so real quick? Who's your favorite to win it? Your dark horse and your favorite to lose it all, to have the punishment.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and start. I think dark horse for sure is Trevor. And I honestly, right now, I think he could win it all. I know that's crazy as much flack as we've given him coming into the season and have for the last 2 years. I think Trevor's team is legit. It's the hottest team. It's scary. The team right now, if they end up being in the bottom 4 to have to do the challenge, I hate to say it, I think Bryce is going to be the one that may be having to do Waffle House because his team, unless he can sneak in and get in the playoffs as a 6 seed or whatever, or even 5 seed, however it still shapes up, I think Bryce will be the team in danger. I know Connor McClain, there's some iffy there, but I really think it's going to come down to Bryce.
How you feeling about it, Caleb?
I think I'm prepared to eat 24 waffles in 24 hours. My team's Donald Cook, goodbye. Yeah, my team's bad all year. Calvin Ridley retired, goodbye. That's why my favorite is to lose it all. I don't see any chance I win the next few games or whatever. My dark horse to win it, my dark horse to win it would be the CBD Baby Daddies. Their team has had extremely great on paper all year. If they make the playoffs, they can go off there each week and they can make a run. But my favorite to win it right now is the guy that's the hottest in the league, and that's Trevor Rowland. I'm sorry, Dylan, your team is great and all, but you had a couple injuries the past little bit. I forget what they are. But, you win it, you're not going to surprise me, but it's going to annoy the hell out of me. My favorite to win it is Trevor, and my dark horse is CBD Baby Daddies.
Yeah, so actually, you guys might be shocked by this. Well, first of all, my least favorite to win it all is Connor McClain. His team It's Connor McClain or Isaac between those two. If Isaac makes Isaac just has a better chance to win the playoffs. And so if Isaac somehow drops out of the playoffs, Isaac will be going to the Waffle House Challenge. I'd be willing to bet on that. If not, I think Connor McClain is going to be having that challenge because I have some stats up here. The lowest floor, so like the lowest floor, like whoever scored the lowest points, Isaac has a 60-point week. The highest floor is myself at 99.96 points, just missing that 100 points. The lowest ceiling, though, the least points out of their highest scoring week is Caleb at 146.92. And as we all know, Mason scored that 194.68. I think it was back in week 5. The highest average week score is Trevor at 134.7, which is obviously based on points, and the lowest average week score is Isaac with 113. It's a crazy thing, but yeah. And then my dark horse actually is Mason to win it all. Mason's put up some really good numbers. He's also had some really low numbers, which is why if his team comes out, he can put it up and win it all. It's just he has to put up 3 good weeks of football. And we haven't seen 3 consistent weeks. As I'm looking at this for Mason, we haven't seen 3 consistent weeks except for week 5, 6, 7, and he put up 128, and that would be his championship week. You look at Trevor, he's had multiple consistent. He had a 146, 161, 151, 151. He's had a 155, a 145, and a 171. Like looking around at that. And then you have some teams that like Bryce, like you said, has put 80 and 70 in a week. But yeah, so my dark horse is Mason, and my favorite win it all right now is Trevor also. I do like my team a lot. I think I have as I said, I have the highest floor. So I think no matter what my team's going to score, so if someone has a bad week, I'm definitely going to beat them. There's no issue with that. The concern is if they have a good week, if my team can outperform them. Because as you've seen my last few weeks, I got a pretty close matchup with Drew coming out of there, 108, 104. And then I also hinged one out against Mason with a pretty good score there. But so my favorite is also Trevor. So as we can all see, Trevor has come a long way. I'm currently powering to 1, but I do think Trevor is the favorite right now with his current point ranking and that he's already locked in the playoffs. But I'll say real quick also, the locks for the playoffs are the top 4. So myself, Matt, Trevor, and Mason have locked it. Connor McClain is theoretically out because of his record, and his point score is not that high, but he's not really. And then everyone else is basically just vying for those last 3 spots, and then everyone else is fighting for that 6th seed.
It's going to be a fun ride, wild ride. Not as wild as OU football, Lincoln Riley, and all this crap, but it's going to be wild.
Yeah, please respond to this video with your favorite Lincoln Riley pictures, posts, hate crimes that he's committed on OU. Any sort of slander you have towards him, any new banners you'd like to submit to Old Row. I think they're taking exceptions and making shirts out of them, I've heard. If you have any kind words for Joe Castiglione, as he's a great man, or for our God and Savior, Bob Stoops. But yeah, that's all. Caleb, any last words? Matt, any last words? And then we sign off.
I've just found a Clark Stroud tweet that I just have to read. Some Sooner fans said, he took Clark with him because he knew Clark couldn't keep quiet. Little did he know that he's an idiot and he deals with high school kids, and there was never a way to keep quiet. I love this stuff. It's just great read.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Fight on.
Fight on. Fight on. And the very last thing also is, as everyone knows, Caleb Kelly is a godsend as well. If you haven't seen his Twitter, go check it out for us. But yeah, guys, let's go and do that sign off. Fight on. Thanks.